I am going to bring up a visual of the lateral line and also the arm line. Okay, so you can take it in from wherever it feels right for you. I'm just going to go in and just show you. Here's a really beautiful shot of this is my anatomy training section of my PowerPoint. And so I love this one because it shows all of the lines. The only um, lines that we're not going into so much are the functional lines. And it's the only reason of that is I haven't played with them enough, and it's not ones that I really bring into my practice a lot. So we just chose to leave the functional lines out. Hopefully, in time on the front and the back superficial body, I'll get into it a little bit more. But as of right now, we did the superficial back, the front, the lateral, okay, the spiral line, okay, and then the deep front line. So that's what this workshop is covering. This is a really nice photo, and just to see, because all of everything we do always has the deep front line in it. And this is a photo that was used in the level 1 that some of you might have seen. And it is the dissection of the deep front line. Okay, so starting at the soles of the feet, going into the deep tibialis posterior muscle, okay, going through the calf into the knee capsule, the adductors, okay, the pubic symphysis, okay, front of the pubic bone. This goes into the psoas, the quadratum laborum. Okay, so I'm here. And then the beautiful awareness of the diaphragm, which is just so cool to see. Okay, the lungs, the upper part of the sternum, and then you can see the end of the deep front line, the tongue. There's actually also the temporalis in the jaw, in the side of the head that comes up, that is not in that myofascial connection. But it is really beautiful to see it in a little bit of a different awareness. So just wanted to bring that in. Okay, there's some nice awarenesses of the feet that you can look at and share. But it's really great sometimes if you are doing a lot of feet work. I know when I sprained my ankle and I did a 3 sprain, I went to this photo and I was like, okay, what did I tear? Right? And then I could see all in the back here. I was like, oh no. Right? All around my malleolus, I'm in trouble. Right? But it was really good insight for me to notice, okay, here's what I damaged, here's the ligaments, here's the muscles I need to kind of work and nourish, and here's where I'm going to need to release. So really beautiful photo of the foot, okay, that you have access to. Lateral line. Okay, so the lateral arch, you can see it starting at the outside of the foot and hooking up and around. So this is creating that lift on the lateral arch, the pinky toe to the outer heel. And we talked a little bit about that little hook today in the morning class, that some of us are supinating our foot out. So when we have our foot in the series, we're kind of looking like this. And we're not fully embodying that lateral line by bringing the foot around. To feel that connection of lateral line to the whole outside of the body. So when we come up that lateral compartment of the leg, all the way through the iliotibial band into the tensor fasciae latae muscle, deep into the glute medius, the maximus, okay, the internal external obliques underneath the ribs, okay, the intercostals, the scalene muscles on the side of the neck, okay, and the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Ooh, these get really tight. And I was doing a little release on the neck yesterday, I'll show you with the slow-mo ball, and I'll also show you something that I was playing with the spin and mobilize. But yeah, sometimes our lateral lines, they get really tight, and when we're dehydrated and kind of pulled out into this lateral awareness, we don't have this concept of feeling our deep front energetic and muscular myofascial connection to the inside. Okay, we're pulled outward. And then there's this lack of inner grounding or inner sense of strength and mobility. And Brett Holland, who teaches the level 1 with me and is a rolfer, he would always say, if I'm only going to see someone one time and they're just coming in for one rolfing session, he goes, I always work the lateral line. Because when you work the lateral line, it just releases and frees the body, right? To feel that you're not being pulled outside. Because so much of life, our consciousness moves outward, life pulls us outward, family, so many different things, right? Pull us outside of ourselves. And when we can come in and start to go inward and go, I start to feel a sense of connecting with self again, spa. You just want to look at the arm lines. Deep front arm line, okay, starting from the third, fourth, fifth rib, going into the pec minor. So here it is here. Okay, going through the coracoid process. So we know that as the beak, right, where the pec minor attaches to, right, from the shoulder blade, into the bicep brachii. Okay, so this top one is the deep front arm line. Okay, then going into the radial tuberosity. Okay, the styloid process of the radius. Okay, and then getting into the muscles. So the thumb, okay, we can connect. We always talk about thumb and index really connecting to the chest muscles. Okay, we have the trapezium. So these are deeper muscles or bones, sorry, in the carpal tunnel. The scaphoid and the trapezium. They're the two bones that stack on the outside of the wrist. And then the superficial line of coming in the pecs, right? Sorry, the clavicle coming down through the lower ribs and working in the back of the arm line. We can see the lats here connecting superficially through the deltoid and then down the arm, and then the deep back line going more into your rotator cuff muscles. Right? So we can feel the rotator cuff, we can feel the triceps, we can feel that lateral line all the way to the pinky. That is connecting us more into the deeper part of the arm lines. And so the deeper arm lines connect a little bit easier into our deep front line as well. And so we have all that superficial connection of the arm lines, you know, the pec on the front, but then the trapezius on the back. And this next photo, I think, is a really beautiful one because you can see kind of the sandwich of it, right? The traps is the superficial, and then the pec is superficial. Pec minor is deeper. Okay, the scapular and the rotator cuff are deeper as well. Okay, so feeling, we can start to understand these layers of moving inward. So some of the techniques that we use myofascially, they work more superficial, and some of the techniques work a little bit more on the deeper fascia. Remember, the deep fascia is what envelopes the muscles. I'll give you a chance to ask questions at the end. Let's go down and practice. We are going to start in child's pose. So before going down into child's pose, if your body hears this and they feel, you know what, I want a little bit of movement just to release the body, you might even start in just coming into cat-cow. And I want you to think of this. One of the things that Joy used to always do was go into spinal waves and really start from the base of the body. So I'm just going to make sure. There we go. And I'm going to spotlight myself. Okay, so I really want you to come from your feet here. And so feeling, do I want to lean the top of my feet and tug on them and see how that feels? And just do that for a moment. Lean the top of the feet and tug on them and see how that connects you up your body. And then I want you to tuck your toes under and root into them and see what that offers you up in your body. And see, do you have a tendency to root more on your big toe? Can you feel your second, third, and fourth? Can you also feel your pinky? So your pinky is connecting you more laterally. And then your outer heel, can you find a little bit of expression on that lateral line and lateral arch of the foot? So expressing more out through this back heel, whether you have the toes tucked under, pressing, or the top of the foot. Okay, so reaching out. See if you can find that balance. And then I want you to start with an exhalation. So when we start exhaling, we're coming into that part of the vagus nerve where we start to calm right away. And so as we round, I want you to start from the feet. Let that energize the legs. Let it come up into the pelvis. And then let the pelvis, the pubic bone lift, but the sit bones reach down. Keep them wide and let that have a ripple effect up through your sacrum. And then each vertebra through your lower back. And then start at the lower thoracic spine, move all the way up. Feel how your ribs are expressing as you do this slow spinal wave. All the way through the upper thoracic, the neck, the head. And then start from your feet again, tugging, leaning, expressing up through the body, and then start to let the sit bones lift, the pubic bone, the belly releases down, and there comes now extension through the spine, rippling up through the lumbar, the thoracic. Keep the back of the neck long. So notice, what are you doing with your eyes? Are you straining them? Can you soften them and receive the image? Can you resist lifting your head too far? Okay, start at the base. Base the body, ripple through the whole body. I want you to see if you can explore this biotensegrity. And if being on the hands does not feel good, my body's asking me to go off mine. I'm going to go onto the forearm so you can be on the floor. Or if you have a bolster, you can also do this on 2 blocks. You can be a little bit higher, pressing the floor away, pressing into your support. Just want to warm up the body first. And then we're going to go into circling. So this is going to be when you feel ready. You're going to allow the spine to circle around. So you're going to start at circling motion. And then I want you to feel your lateral. Lean out into your lateral line. And then lean up into your back. And then into your outer lateral line. And then your superficial front line. So just start to go in, noticing that spiraling that's been happening as we move around.
Sorry,
Creating some, yeah.
Michelle, where do we start that spiraling from?
Yeah, I would start it in the same place from the feet and then allow it to spiral from the spine, through the spine. Almost like the spine is wrapping around and circling around, right? But you
Oh,
got to start from the feet.
almost kind of like a skipping rope.
Exactly, a skipping rope, or like, when you scoop out a jar of the last bits of peanut butter out of a jar. Yeah, exactly. So wanting you to feel a little bit more if it's coming in the biotensegrity of the body. So we talked about that sthura and sukham. So can you notice integrity and also feel spacious and ease at the same time? If you want to come forward, inhale and exhale back. That's also another way to spiral around. Last movement, we're going to get right in now that we're feeling a little bit warmer to the lateral line. And want you to move from the feet first. So the feet and the shins are going to come around to the right. So I'm coming towards camera. And then I'm going to take, as I feel the feet, the shins, the hips start to come around to the right as well. And then I'm going to lengthen through the upper body and lengthen through the ribs and feel this lateral expansion come in as the right side of my rib cage compresses. The left side is going to open as I lengthen and turn to the side. So you're bringing your hips and your torso and your head and your feet all around to one side. So you either go to the right or the left. You're going to feel a compression on one side and an expansion of tugging through the lateral line on the other side. And you can breathe here and breathe into the side that's expanding. Feel that expansion and recoiling. And then go back to center. And then feel the other side. And bringing the legs, the hips, lengthening up through the torso, expanding the rib cage, turning the body, lower body and upper body to come around. So like you're creating a C shape or a half moon. Okay, and feel that for a couple rounds. And then when you're ready, you just go into child's pose. So your knees can be apart, you can have a bolster, okay, whatever you want. In this one, I'm going to give a couple arm positions here. So you might have your arms forward and just pause here. Some of you may feel, I want to go a little bit deeper and create a relationship with the lateral line of expressing out through the rib cage, up through the arms, the fingers, the top of the head forward, and then expressing down from the waist down through the hips, the sit bones. You feel that oppositional movement. Remember, you're only working at 70%. Okay, you might also find with a bolster or pillow or blocks, you can have two blocks, that maybe you bring the elbows onto your blocks or the bolster, and you lift your forearm and your hands up and you place the palms of the hands together and then allow the torso to sink down. You're going to feel this release through the deeper quality of getting into the triceps, so the deep back arm line. I like the bolster because I can rest my forehead on the bolster. The forearms and the hands can come back to the back of the skull. Sometimes they come to the upper back, sometimes they float in the air. Yeah, good. If your body, remember, at any times wanting to explore something else and it says, oh, yes, I want to really go into this, you follow it. Okay, take a few more breaths here. Okay, we're going to come out. And we're going to find a seated position. I'm going to be close to the wall because I want a little bit more feedback of the wall. If you want to just sit on your mat, do so. I'm just going to bring the camera a little bit closer to me. And so, couple options here is if you want to just sit really flush with the wall, you can. I've taken my bolster and just turned it up on its side and leaned it back against the wall. Then I've also got my swivel ball and I'm going to put it on top of the bolster so it's around my shoulder blades. So just getting into that spiral line a little bit that we did this morning in between the shoulder blades, and we talked about the back door of the heart. Okay, so I've got my inflated slimmer ball in between my shoulder blades. I've got the bolster supporting my lower back, and then you can have your legs in whatever position you want. So it might be butterfly, might be tortoise, you might be cross-legged, you might be straight legs, maybe you put a bolster underneath. Good. I'm going to make sure that you can see the full length of my arms here. So we're going to go into Cobra Hood, which is the very first of the arm series, and it's for the lateral line. Okay, so it does the slide and glide through the intercostals, the obliques, and really helping us get into that fluidity. And so as you feel the swivel ball, you might even take a moment to feel, do I want to cross fiber a little bit across the body? So that's going left to right. You might even feel a little compression of leaning into the ball and then just holding that. Remember, the compression is something that we've been going into again, of combining a few of the tools into the technique. You're going to bring your hands together. So because we're seated, we're changing our plane of exploring this. So when you start, you're in Hakini Mudra. So that means that you imagine that you're holding a ball or a gem in the palm of your hand, and just the pads of the thumb, index, middle ring, pinky are leaning. So one of the things here is to get into the slide of the glide, we got to load the fascia a little bit. And so when we do leaning techniques into the floor, okay, gathering in as well, we create a little tugging motion. So here we're leaning the hands equally into each other. And the elbows, I want you to think of them as being really heavy to start. Okay, keep a wide collarbone. See if you can lift up through the deep front line of rooting down through the pelvis, up through the top of the ears. And as the arms start to come up and forward, the palm of the hands are going to start to come together. Okay, and so are the forearms and the elbows. And then as you extend up, I want you to notice that oppositional movement of your rib cage gathering and tugging down towards your pelvis. So as the inner elbows start to come together and you're reaching up, you're also dragging down through the ribs. Okay, I tend to exhale here, and then I tend to inhale as I bring the hands back over heart and widen, go back into Hakini Mudra. So then there's sliding up, the palms of the hands start to come together, the inner elbows start to come towards one another. The rib cage, as you're exhaling, is drawing down. So you're starting to feel that tug right along the lateral line. As you come down, the palms of the hands open as well as the elbows. Cobra Hood. Beautiful watching you. Bringing some different tools and ways on how to adapt. A lot of us do this one on the floor, but just want you to notice, what does it feel like to be seated? The slow-mo ball is a really good way for warming up the tissue. So whenever I do work on myofascial release and it's maybe towards maybe closer to the middle or the start of the class, I'll always do range of motion and slow-mo ball warm up. Okay, so I want to give you two different ways now to release the arm lines and this lateral line. Once you feel that, you're going to come out, and I've got my balls, and I'm going to show you this without the wall, and then you're going to use the wall. So I want you to feel along your arm, just give a little massage and just sense, is there a place along the arm where you're feeling, I could put the ball there. And for me, it's right here. Okay, so wherever you find it, you're going to put the ball there, and you're going to lean this ball on the outer arm against the wall. We're doing what is called a ball stack. Okay? Then you're going to put the ball on the inside of the arm. So I'll show you what it looks like. So I wore black today, and I've got a blue ball. So I've got my ball on the outside and the ball directly on the other side. So what you're doing is you're creating, there it is there, a pin, kind of like a grip. And what this does is you're going to push very gently into the wall. So you're going to start by, I'm leaning sideways. I got my ball on my outer arm, the inside of the arm, and then I'm pinning that so it's gently leaning also into my rib cage. So remember, serratus anterior, intercostals. And then I'm just going to pause. I want you to take a few breaths as you do your pause. And then I just want you to breathe. And you might even feel as you're gently leaning a little bit of weight into the ball, feeling that transfer through, getting into the deeper fascia, into the inside of the arm, and very gently into the intercostals. And you might do a little bit of combing and stripping up and down. And I found a little bit of a different place where my body is drawing me to, so I'm just adjusting my balls. Okay, remember, when we hold something, we don't go for any more than 2 to 3 minutes in one area. So if you're working, then you might go, I'm going to roll down a little bit, and you would move the balls down. So this is getting into the deeper fascial compartments all the way down to the bone. So remember, you should have a soft face. You should be able to breathe. Remember, if it's too much, you just back off. Not every technique or tool is going to work for all of us at any time. So this one's best done on limbs. So in the manual, I did it on inner thigh and iliotibial tract. Here, we're doing it on the arm lines because I wanted to also focus on the arm line and the lateral line. Okay, then when you're done, I just want you to feel one side as opposed to the other. Okay, so this awareness of, just pausing for a moment. How does that arm feel that you just did as opposed to the other arm? You feel a little bit more awareness of feeling the arm. Is there warmth? Is there spreading? How's your breath? If you need to, open your eyes and locate yourself in your space. Okay, then you're going to go on and do the other side. We were pausing when we were talking about this morning of noticing how we feel before we go into it, and then noticing how we feel interoceptively when we come out. So take a moment, massage that arm, because where you did it on the other side is not necessarily going to be where this side needs it. Okay, so I feel something a little bit lower. So you're ball stacking the balls on the outside and the inside. So it's creating kind of like a grip on the limb. So they are at the same height, inner arm and outer arm. So you might even place the ball against the wall on your arm and just do a little bit of pausing, tiny bit of leaning to feel that compression, just signaling the body to let go. And then you might even do a little combing just to sense, where is it that I need to be? And so I found my place. And then you want to feel that other ball go on the inside of your arm and then gently feeling it ever so softly against the ribs. And then just pausing there. Feel how this is moving deeper into the body. So we've been moving from the superficial and going deeper and deeper and deeper with the myofascial release tools and starting to combine some of them together. Hey, if you get a signal from your body and your body says, oh, do a little bit of cross fibering side to side, feel free, go into it. My body's asking me to do a little bit of combing and stripping. So that's running along the grain of the muscle. So that's, in this instance, going vertically up and down. Check in when you're done, no rush, how you feel. You might even do a few more cobra hit. Notice, has something changed? For me, I like to close my eyes and drop a little bit more interceptively in to sense that. Going from the hands in Hakini Mudra to Anjali Mudra, reaching down through the pelvis, up through the crown of the head, the fingers. And forget about that opposite rib to hip connection of the spiral line that really helped some of you this morning. Balancing your effort, integrity, and space and ease. What does that look like for you? If the eyes need to open and locate, you can even look far away and close. Look side to side if you want. And then I want you to go up into a downward facing dog. So roll around, find the connection of the palm of the hand, spreading them nice and wide, feeling the relationship of the ball of the shoulders dropping down into the bottom of the socket. Just round the spine up, let the head go, tuck the toes under, just be here for a moment. And then you might even feel a little shift forward into the hands and a little shift back into the feet. And just feel this difference as you shift forward into the hands. Can you feel your feet press into the floor as you shift forward? Notice what it feels like to load the arms. And then press into the hands and shift the weight back. And notice what it feels like to load into the legs, the pelvis, the feet. That's a fun way to just feel the biotensegrity of the body. And you might even sense, oh, as I load into the hands, then I can upper body, then I can press back and keep pressing the floor away between the hands and the feet. Keep pressing the floor away, hands and feet, and the pelvis just floats up. You might walk it out. Feel the expression of all the toes. They're reaching out through the lateral heel, the outer heel, and also feel the inside just to notice both inner deep front line and the lateral line. Feel the index and your thumb press into the floor and notice how that travels into the deep arm line and feeling that connection into up the arm into the. Sorry, my brain is just lapsing because I'm in a inversion. I'm going to come out the pec minor is what I was wanting to say. And you come out when you're ready and just pause. Yeah, yeah, nice. Hey, we're gonna do a little bit of release through the lateral line and also in through the neck if you want. So I'm gonna do a few things here of you can feel the neck in a couple different ways, and the spin and mobilize is one. And so neck or rib cage. So you might feel that, oh, I want to go and take the slow-mo ball and put it on the side body. Okay, with this, it's really helpful when you use the slow-mo ball because it has a textured skin that you do a little bit more on flesh on ball or very light fabric. Okay, so if you do want to do that and you're like, oh, well, I don't really want to be on camera, then you can go off camera. But I'll show you what that looks like. So I pull up, I put the skin on the slow-mo ball, and then just take a moment to be there and just lower my camera down because you can't see that so well. And we take a moment to be here and breathe. And then you're going to do what is called a spin. And so as I'm pinning, I'm going to start to spin my body on the slow-mo ball. And so what I'm doing is slow-mo ball's here and I'm spinning on top of it. So it's creating this like wound up ringing motion. And right there, I feel like my body doesn't want me to go anymore. And so I'm going to pause and I might flex and move the spine a little bit. You might even feel the arm wants to move. My spine wants to undulate a little bit. And I just hold that. So just try that first. Just take one side of the body, lie down on it. See if you can do flesh on ball. You might need to deflate your ball a little bit if it's too much. I had to take a little bit of air out, so I was about 60%. You just exhale and lie on the ball. As you can see, I've got it under, for me, my side body on my left side. So I started on my side that's really tight. For me, it's my left. And I just pause. So I just want you to pause and go deep and then just start to think, I'm going to turn clockwise or I'm going to turn counterclockwise. You might even ask your body, which way do you want to turn? And it might go, oh, let's go counter or let's go clockwise. I went clockwise. And then you're just going to spin the body around very gently. And it's going to create a little ringing motion on the ball. And then you're just going to pause. Okay, feel that. And then You might feel the spine wanting to titrate or undulate. You might have the sense that the arms want to move. And sometimes I roll forward and back here. Okay, so you're just keeping that ringing motion, just watching you. Yeah, there you go. Uh-huh. Yeah, you guys are getting it. And sometimes it's just lying there and being really still. When you're ready to come out, so your body's going to go, oh, that's enough. And you might unwind. Sometimes what I do instead of unwinding is I just lift up ever so gently and I just take the slow-mo ball out and then I just lie wherever I want to and just let my body determine that. So I might stay on my side, might roll on my back and just sense how do I feel from right side to left.